Where's the most snow in Massachusetts? We've got the top 5 snowiest communities and my personal experiences in winters in Massachusetts. Hey everyone, my name is Matt Swerk. I'm a local real estate expert right here in the state of Massachusetts. Welcome to our channel. If this is the first time you've been here, what is this all about? We talk everything about Massachusetts. Sometimes places to go, people to see, things to do. Today we're talking about the top 5 snowiest communities. Now, if you've been here before, welcome back. How did you get this video? It was simple. You hit the subscribe button, you hit the little bell. That way, every time we make a new video, you're getting notified. And like we say once in a while, give us the little thumbs up because we love the encouragement. So you have lots of questions. We have lots of answers. Reach out to us any way you feel appropriate. One thing you have to remember, when it comes to Massachusetts, we've always got your back. All right, here we go. We're talking about some of the snowiest communities in Massachusetts. I was talking to Tyler about this one, and I was like, Tyler, I can just pull a couple things real quick, but do you want me to go deep into the different communities and the snow, or we can make a 2-minute video about, the accumulations? And he said, Matt, why don't you just kind of give your 45 cents on your experiences with winter? And I said, I love to talk. Let's make this one a fun one. So I'll start with the top 5 communities with the most amount of snow. We have some interesting elevations here in Massachusetts, and some of these communities is not a surprise as far as how much snow that we get. But one that would be a little interesting is Lowell, Massachusetts. So Lowell's definitely one of our bigger cities here in Massachusetts. Back in 2014, 2015, they had the highest total of any of the communities with over 120 inches of snow. That year, we got blizzard after blizzard. Like, we didn't have a lot of snow until January. Well, actually December, because it's the 2014, 2015 winter. I gotta tell you, it was easy going into it, and then all of a sudden, it did not fail. Every Sunday going into Monday, not everybody, I think 6 weeks in a row, we had a blizzard after a blizzard after a blizzard after a nor'easter. I mean, it was madness. I've never seen any of the cities with so much snow. And they had to bring all the snow eaters in, those big machines just to melt the snow. Then they melt all the snow, and then there's water everywhere, and there's icy conditions that got created. What a mess. They actually got authorization to dump snow into the harbor, which, you really shouldn't be doing. So it was pretty messy that year. I'll never forget it. I was also a child. I was in the blizzard of 78. So that was an interesting one where we couldn't even open the front door because there was so much snow. But anyway, back to Lowell, Massachusetts. They're kind of the low in the totem pole right here. They get about 61.6 inches of snow each year. Again, in a city, that's going to be a challenge because, again, where do they put the snow? This next one, because of the elevation out in the Berkshires, Pittsfield, Mass. Pittsfield, Mass gets about 62.1 inches average of snow per year. That's pretty decent because, it's I shouldn't say that, way out in Western Mass. It's right over there in Western Massachusetts. Hey, Western Mass, we love you guys. So Western Mass, sometimes it's gonna be a little more spread out. So dealing with that amount of snow, easy. You can kind of push it all over the place. But now going to number 3, Worcester, right? Or Worcester is a lot of people that don't know how to say it from the area. And we don't make fun of you. We don't laugh at you. We just kind of think it's cute. Worcester, 64.1 inches of snow. They actually, back in 2015, excuse me, they had 32 inches of snow, which was the highest that they've gotten since 1892. So they set a record there. Again, Worcester's packed pretty tightly. So when you have a lot of snow, where do you put it? It becomes a problem. The next one is 2 communities pushed together. They're right next to each other. There's Lawrence and then there's Haverhill. Kind of the northeast corner of that region of Merrimack Valley. 67.3 inches of snow on average. Again, city areas, so lots of snow, where does it go? The other one right near me, Fitchburg, Massachusetts. This is not a place that can deal with a lot of snow. Very, very tight communities, lots of multifamilies or multi-unit dwellings, as people from outside the area call them. Fitchburg, 82.2 inches of snow on average each year. There's a really interesting climate there because of where it's located with the elevation, and there's tons of hills. I think it's the second hilliest city in the country compared to San Francisco. So imagine snow and ice and roads that go like this What happens? Boom, boom, bumper cars. Yeah, you got to have insurance. We all have it here, no problem. So those are the top 5 communities that have the most amount of snow. Now, I wanted to, Tyler, you said, hey, man, why don't you, you're a Mass kid. Why don't you talk about your experiences? And I said, yeah, right now we're in January. We haven't had really any substantial snow up until this point. I think the other day we got maybe like 6 inches. Then there was another like 5 inches that came. We're about to get some more snow today. It's on. Put your gloves on, baby. And yeah, let's fight the weather. That's not happening. So it's interesting because our seasons, I'm going to go kind of backwards of what I right down below. If you see me looking down, that's my notes on this. But it's interesting because when I was organizing my notes on this, I was laughing because typically like November, we may get some snow for Thanksgiving, right? And then usually by the like end of March, that's when most of the snow is, I'm not going to say gone, but it's expected not to fall anymore. Well, an interesting phenomenon a couple of years ago, they had to cancel Halloween because we had a nor'easter on the day before Halloween, and no one could clean out their driveways or streets to go trick or treating. The only time in my life they ever canceled Halloween. It was crazy. And then a couple days later, not a couple days, but like a week and a half later, it all melted because we had had a warmer time there. We typically don't get snow in October. So the other thing on the other end of the spectrum is I remember where there was an April Fool's nor'easter, right? Go back into our archives. I did a video live of a nor'easter. I survived. It was amazing. But we did it. I remember that we had a nor'easter on April 1st, and that was a big thing, like April Fool's nor'easter. And what a mess that was because like all the equipment was put away and people didn't expect to have snow. I was out in Florida not too long ago, and I was talking to someone from California, and they said, how do you guys deal with it? And I said, it's only a couple months left. Once we get to March, everyone's celebrating because we have this little saying that March is in like a lion, out like a lamb, which means we're getting smacked with snow, we're getting smacked with cold weather as the lion, right? But as the end of the month, it's very calm and relaxing, and we know that spring is right around the corner, and that's when everyone gets excited. And I was laughing with someone that I used to be in the dry cleaning industry, and they said, yeah, it was amazing. Like people don't wear clothes after April. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, they don't wear clothes. We wear clothes. It's just like the first sign of nice weather. It's like rip off the 14 layers that you have on there and put some shorts on and a tank top. Woo, we're celebrating. So a couple phenomena that we've had to deal with is that we had a major ice storm here that really shut down the state. I was personally without power for about 14 days. That was a crazy time that we hadn't really dealt with, and that was something that was definitely record setting. So as far as the winters are concerned, I live in a house now that we have a well. And when it comes to the winter and power, if we have power outages, we have to be prepared because we can't flush toilets, we can't use water. So that's something for anyone that has a well, we have to be more prepared for that. Also, as far as the food is concerned, if we expect to have a major storm coming in, you don't want to keep opening and closing your refrigerator or your freezer. So the recommendation is like take containers, fill them with water, freeze them before the storm comes, and then you can actually take that ice, keep it in the freezer, put it in the fridge, and that will create a cooler, if you will. Recommendation, when you have a storm, if the kids are hungry, don't let them open up the fridge and stare into the fridge. You got to be prepared as far as your meal prep is concerned. Another weird thing about this state, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's other states. I think it's really interesting. When we have a storm, even if it's a couple inches coming, and I've said this on other videos, we freak out. And we're like, we got to get to the grocery store. And what is the common thread that people are shopping for? Milk and bread. Milk and bread. I mean, you go around, you start interviewing people from Massachusetts, like, what do you need in the snowstorm? People are like, I got to get the milk and got to get the bread. I'm lactose intolerant. I don't even drink milk. And I'm like, we need milk and bread. My kids drink milk, right? But that's a weird thing. So if you come here, get prepared to have your milk and your bread. The other thing is, when there's snow, most of us, I get a lot of inquiries, or we get a lot of inquiries of, how do you drive in the snow? What is that all about? I can't send you an email or have a phone conversation about how you drive in the snow. When you're skidding, you turn into the skid. Now with anti-lock brakes, you don't pump your brakes. You just ease into them, and it kind of gets this weird feeling. The technology in vehicles has definitely changed how we drive. And I remember the first time I drove a car with anti-lock brakes, I was like, what is happening? The car is going to explode. But that was just the mechanism so it doesn't skid. So you have to be a little bit more prepared as far as travel time is concerned, especially in the mornings, right? If you don't have a garage, that's another thing. Being in real estate, when I sit down with people, I'm like, what are your must-haves? When someone says, I've always had a garage, then coming here to Massachusetts, you're going to want to have a garage, because once you go to the garage, you're never going to want to go back, right? You got to make sure you clean your car off. I did another video, like people have like these snow missiles that come flying, flipping off the cars. And it's like, you got to drive, be responsible. So be prepared to clean your car off if you don't have a garage. Also, the windshields get iced up pretty quick. So even this morning when I was taking my daughter out, we had the car running for like 5 minutes. We didn't put the defroster on, and I'm like rushing her to the bus, and I come out and the windshield's still all iced up. So you got to get a good ice scraper or those snow brooms. It's like a foam thing that pushes all the snow off. So I love that. That's amazing. The other thing is that I have kids, so I have to be conscientious as far as childcare is concerned. And I have the ability that I work from home, so I could have them here, but a lot of families don't have that luxury. So you got to be prepared as far as school is concerned. Another strange phenomenon, and I think it's been since that ice storm, is that they will cancel school the night before in anticipation of a big storm or in anticipation of ice. I cannot tell you how many times they cancel school, and then the next morning we wake up and the storm has shifted and they got a day off for nothing. And that's where I'm like, kids, you got to do at-home school. And they're like, that's not fair. So we got to be prepared for that. The other thing is, our clothing. And I was talking to Tyler about this, and I said, we have different types of snow. And just the other night when I was out, we had heavy, wet snow. That's the snow that is backbreaking. That's the snow that causes heart attacks. If you come here and you have heavy, wet snow, please don't just go out there and start being crazy and just getting at it. You got to ease your body into it, because if your heart's just kind of going and then you're picking up this snow, it could be a disaster. So outsource that. Find someone to plow for you. Find someone to shovel for you. But the heavy, wet snow that's very moist, that's the snowman snow. That's the snowball snow. It's great for that, but it's awful as far as moving snow and picking up snow. So if you're shoveling, bend with your knees. Definitely, you have to have snow pants. My daughter, we were laughing the other day because she didn't have snow pants. I'm like, where'd your snow pants go? She's like, I left them at school. So what do? I tapped into my inner child. I tapped into, hey, you know what? Let's pull out some contractor bags, the big black trash bags. I cut a hole in the corner of it. She literally stuck her foot in there. We wrapped it up with tape, each leg. I know she was super hot, but you know what? She stayed dry. She had boots, but her legs stayed dry, and she rolled around the snow. It was great. So that's another one. And it's just Central Mass. There's different areas. When you go down towards the Cape, it is typically warmer because of the water. They're not going to get as much snow, or it's not going to stick as long. But Central Mass and then Western Mass, it's going to stay because the elevations are higher and the climate's a little bit colder. All right, so that was just 5 of the communities and 45 minutes of my sense thrown in there. You have lots of questions. Reach out to us, whether you're looking to move here, you're looking to, you want recommendations. You're like, hey, Matt, what's a good beach to go to? Yes, I'm thinking of the beach, even though it's January. But I love the winter too. I'm so excited. I can't wait for everything to freeze over so we can go and play some pond hockey. But if you reach out to us, we don't get back to you right away. Give us some grace. We get a lot of people reaching out. We really appreciate the support on the channel. Just remember, when it comes to Massachusetts, we've always got your back.